Hi, my name is Colleen Lamott, and I am an OpenSciEd teacher and writer in the state of Washington. In this lesson, students are engaged in minds-on work as they thoughtfully engage in putting pieces together of all of the things that they figured out in the previous lessons to see what we can now explain while also realizing what is missing and therefore where we go next. Let's recap a bit about how we got to this lesson. During the last lesson, we figured out that penguin body structures changed over time. Ancient penguins were often larger and had different beaks than modern species. And we also figured out that penguins lived in different environments throughout history, and even the same locations could have had very different conditions and living communities in the past. So in this lesson, we are wondering why. Why are there similarities and differences in the body structures of these modern and ancient penguins? So let's take a look at the lesson at a glance to get a high-level overview of its key elements. This type of lesson is a putting pieces together and problematizing. So that means we put together everything that we figured out and recognize where we still have pieces that are missing. It takes 2 days. The required preparation time is only 20 minutes. This lesson can be broken down into two main sense-making loops. On day 1, we have our first sense-making loop. We begin in scientist circle to come to consensus on the groupings for ancient and modern penguins on a new timeline. We attempt to answer our 3 initial unit questions with evidence and then analyze our explanations. From that, we figure out that modern penguins descended from ancient penguins, but the exact connections are still unclear. Penguin species changed over many generations, likely influenced by the environment, and more fossil evidence is needed. From there, we go into the second day and our second sense-making loop. We continue to use discussion and individual think time to consider patterns in the data and determine where we need to go next. From that, we figure out variation differs between species versus within a population. Individuals in a population can differ in the same trait within a range, and all individuals share species-level traits, but those traits differ across species. From all of that, we are able to figure out some ancient penguins give rise to the 18 modern species, but we may be missing some key fossils. Penguin species likely lived in different places with body structures that were suited to the environments they lived in. And a single fossil can reflect the population on average, but individual variation means it's not the full picture. So we're left wondering, how might other living things be connected to ancient organisms? Let's zoom in to some key moments in the lesson. In part 3, the purpose is to take stock of what we can now explain with evidence from our previous lessons and identify remaining questions and evidence that we still need. Students are able to engage in both independent think time as well as whole class discussion. And we really emphasize the need for evidence. What do we have and what are we missing? In part 7, this takes place on day 2, the purpose is to address this idea of sample size and relative certainty and surface how and why we can make inferences about species for whom there is little fossil evidence. For this particular part of the Build Understandings discussion, we're really focusing on structures that don't have any variation within the species. In part 8, we expand to think about structures that do have some variation within the species. We continue this discussion for the purpose of applying what we know about current populations to make inferences about ancient populations. Specifically, since individuals within a species show very little variation in their body structures, then we can infer that differences between fossils likely indicate different species, even with limited samples. Part 8 continues using discussion, now considering specific traits such as height, to explore the following really big science ideas: variation within versus between species, range of variation within a trait, distribution of variation, or this idea that most individuals are going to occur within the mid region of this range. There will be fewer at the extreme ends. And then using traits to distinguish species despite variation. So looking at those non-overlapping ranges to determine which species a particular fossil may have belonged to. After all of this, where do we go from here? We've developed an explanation based on evidence to show how ancient penguins are connected to modern penguins based on variation at different scales, species versus individuals in a population. And now we want to look at other organisms that have more fossil data to explore possible connections between the modern and ancient species. Next, I'll share some tips and tricks so that hopefully this lesson will go more smoothly. In part 2, as students are asked to develop consensus for penguin groupings, make sure that students have access to their annotated timelines from the previous lesson. As well, consider having a few extra laminated sets of cards available for students. They can reference these as the discussion is progressing or even manipulate them as necessary to really make sense and follow the discussion. In parts 7 and 8, as they're building the understanding, the teacher guide references the penguin data cards and specifically the data chart on the cards. What they're talking about is this column, this chart over here to the left of these ancient penguin data cards. And those can be found in the Lesson 3 folder and under the title 8.6 Lesson 3 handout, Ancient Penguin Data. For word wall, there is a lot of vocabulary in this lesson, and I've divided it up in this chart by the part that you will encounter these words. So in part 4, you'll get some words that we'll earn and add to the word wall. In part 4, we will also revisit a word from 8.5, our genetics unit, where we were adding on to this definition of trait now through the lens of species and populations. We'll encounter some words in part 8 as we are thinking about those trait variations within a species. And then in part 9, we will add on this idea of fossil record. Note that the use of species in the definition of population is in an attempt to move us closer to a fuller understanding of the term, and we're going to continue to build on that throughout the unit. For poster management, make sure to have the updates to add to the consensus model from Lesson 3, as well as ideas for future investigations and the driving question board. You will relate to those or refer to those specifically in this lesson. And then during this lesson, you're going to be creating a new penguin timeline with these cards, the ancient and the modern penguin data cards. And that brings us to a close. My students really appreciated this lesson because it gave them an opportunity to work as scientists who are putting pieces together, hearing different ideas, coming to consensus, and identifying what it is that we still need to figure out. That then makes them excited for Lesson 5, where we will explore the things that we feel like we still need to figure out, possible connections between other ancient and modern organisms. I hope this video gives you more confidence in facilitating this minds-on lesson that requires students to make connections and figure out things while talking and really engaging cognitively. It's a big shift for a lot of us and our students, but it is critical for building scientific literacy. And I think it's worth the investment. So thanks for watching.